Good morning, sir. Uh, before the
Good
start
morning.
of interview, let me introduce the dignitary that we have today. Dr. Suresh Mony is currently the director of NMIMS Bangalore, and prior to this, he has been the chairperson to executive management programs at SPJMA Mumbai, the group advisor to Four Seasons Marine and Air Services, chief executive to Champney Industries Limited, and the managing director to the Northeastern Industrial and Consultancy Organizations Limited. It's a pleasure having you on our interview, sir, today.
Yep, thank
Uh,
you. Thank you very much. Thanks for having
sure, sir. Sir, so I'm starting off with the interview, sir.
me. Yeah.
Sir, you've held key positions at education institutes throughout your professional career. What are the key factors that keep you connected with the education sector?
There may be two or three factors. I think the most important is that being in education, one keeps young. One is constantly trying to learn, and you're being with youngsters who are maybe one third your age, and there's so much to learn even from the young people. It's and as you know, learning the whole entire teaching learning process is a collaborative process, and I think teachers learn as much as from the students. And in fact, if you look at now the technology, the way youngsters are more technology savvy, I think there's so much to learn from them. But besides that, I think it's a contribution to society. One has been in industry for quite some time. One has learned a lot from industry, and I think it's time to give back. So, when I, in fact, joined education, I was about 50 that time, and I thought that was the right time to join education because a lot of people try to enter education just before retirement or couple of years before retirement. That's not the right time. So you must join at a time when you have your sufficient energy in you to learn the entire gamut of activities related to the whole process of education, and then give back. And I think that has stood me in good stead throughout life, throughout my career. So being young, learning, and really, when you look at education in India, uh, India produces some of the best scientists, best engineers. I mean, it's way up in terms of the IITs are a brand and so on and so forth. But yet, the state of education is very poor in India. And with the gross enrollment ratio of only about 26%, that means out of every 100 students who in the age group of 18 to 23, only 26 per persons join higher education. And that's a very poor metric. If you go to England, for UK, for instance, is about 70%. So we are amongst the lowest in terms of the gross enrollment ratio. So if we, as having had the experience of higher education, having been in industry, and having now entered academics, if we can contribute towards improvement of the gross enrollment ratio, towards improvement of the quality of education in terms of curricula, pedagogy, etc., I think one should be satisfied that one is contributing to society. I think this is what keeps me going in education.
Yes, sir. Sir, being the director of NMIMS Bangalore, what is your philosophy of leadership? How do you describe your leadership style?
Okay, I think leadership, the essence of leadership is really to carry individuals, build a team, and along with the team and the individuals meet the objectives, meet the organizational objectives. That I would, in a nutshell, call as the essence of leadership. Leadership has been described in various terms, and a lot of people like to look at leadership from the leadership qualities. But the essence
Yes, sir.
really is meet organizational objectives and with your team and your individuals. So, which means you have to meet the aspirations of the individuals, you have to meet the aspirations of the team, and then meet the objectives. So, if you ask me, so I've always liked to see. So, I'm a people's person. So, if I say people's person, I like to build relations, and relationships I think are the most important thing, whether it's in your family life or whether it's in organizational life. And that to me it stood me in good stead. So you might be a great, your IQ might be very great, but a lot of people with great high IQ find themselves a misfit in leadership roles because they don't have the emotional quotient. I think having the emotional quotient to deal with challenges, deal with contradictions, deal with shocks, deal with crisis, I think is very important. So, and if you ask me what my leadership style is, I would like to say that my leadership style is it hands-on, yet I empower people, It's a decentralized style of management, and so people are enthused to work, and they can work without fear of any retribution or this thing. I always tell my colleagues that the bouquets are yours and the brickbats are mine. That's my, in a nutshell, I would say, my leadership style.
Yes, sir. Great, sir. Sir, how does the curriculum of NMIMS Bangalore ensure the best practices of the industry?
Okay. So, it's always good to, when you design or when you start the campus, when you sort of conceive a campus, I think it's very important to look at it from the root inputs. The inputs, obviously, the faculty are the most important in terms of the inputs when you got. See, the graduating students are the outcomes of the outputs, and the input is really given by the faculty. So one must have a blend of faculty in the sense of having people who are good in academics, who are academicians, as well as those who have got a lot of experience in industry. So we have tried to ensure that we have a blend of and industry experienced people. I myself have about 29, 30 years experience in industry. Many of my colleagues have been also chief executives and general managers and vice presidents. So at least about 40 to 50% of our senior people have got extensive experience in industry. And there are others who have got a lot of academic experience. They are PhDs in their own right, and who also blend with them and interact with industry, and that's why improve their horizon in terms of their perspective. So one thing is to have a blend of faculty. The second thing is to ensure that whatever you do, your curriculum that you make, you update your curriculum, that's always contemporary and based on industry needs. And for that, we have a body called the Board of Studies. Our Board of Studies is made up of, I think a majority of them, or 60% of them, are people from industry. So and Board of Studies meets at least two times a year in order to see what is going on, to look at the curriculum, update the curriculum if necessary, make it as much more contemporary as possible. And that's what we do. So we get a lot of input from the Board of Studies. Board of Studies comprises of people who have been senior professionals in industry. They have been entrepreneurs. So we marry the best of academia and industry. That is, and we're able to do that. So having industry come and teach you. And then the other thing is to have our events. A lot of our events, which are organized by students, have an industry interface, have an industry connect. And we get people from the industry, right from chief executives onwards, who come and interact with the students. And through these symposia and the seminars and the events, I think there's a lot of learning to be had. And that also helps us in updating our curriculum and things like that. So this is the ways in which we make ourselves industry relevant,
Yes, sir. Sir, what do you think your roles and responsibility to the college and to the students are as a director of NMIMS?
Okay. I think the number one, the bedrock of the excellence, or the bedrock on which we have built our campus, has been quality.
Yes.
I think the first thing which I like to convey or communicate to the students and faculty is the quality ethos. And I think it is because when we came here in Bangalore way back in 2008, we were not really known. NMIMS is really known in Mumbai. It's known a lot in Delhi, but not in the south, not so much in Bangalore at all. So we first had to establish ourselves based on the quality ethos, and quality was the one which carried us through. And I think it was the market came to know that we stand for quality. Our processes are strong, robust, and that's sort of rubs off on the students that we generate. That's number one. So quality is number one, and in order to reinforce that, we got quality accreditations. We were the youngest business school in India to get the international accreditation of AMBA. AMBA is a body in UK, and we were at the age of 6. We were only 6 years old when we got that accreditation, and that was quite an achievement. For the institute with just 6 years of existence, they got the AMBA accreditation, and that has continued. So one thing is to say that the quality ethos. The second thing, which is which I like to stress, is the fact that we should have a vision for ourselves. And the vision has been,
Yes.
when we started off, we said we must be one of the best executive education centers here. We must be one of the best MBA schools. And so, and not only best MBA schools in Bangalore or in the South or India, but also internationally. So slowly it evolved. It evolved, and we said we should become one of the better schools in Asia. And you might be interested to know that there's an agency called the Ed Universal in France, which rated our PGDM program as the 8th in Central Asia. 8th in Central Asia, and our executive program as 14th in Central Asia. So that's how we got into the international sphere. So international accreditation, international sphere. So not only the fact that the moment you try to look outwards, look at globally, I think you have to compete, and your quality automatically improves. So quality ethos,
Yes.
then the camaraderie. The fact is we have to gel as a team. I always tell my colleagues that you must gel as a team, and it's the teamwork that will carry us to. And there's so much to learn from each other, and always keep trying to update your knowledge, trying to keep update the practices, and and that you do it as a team. I think it will really do well, augur well for the institute. So I think that I would, in a way, sum up as the reasons for.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. So, till now you talked about your journey since 2008. From this point forward, what do you think should be NMIMS top priority over next 10 years from now on?
Okay. See, we have established ourselves as a good institute in the area of. See, I think I must tell you, we are not only a B school. We are also we have undergraduate programs. So we have established ourselves as a good institute, where the curriculum is good, the teaching is good. Where we lack, where we are not strong right now is research. I think we really have to dwell on research, and because today, if you want to grow globally in terms of rankings, in terms of accreditation, research is extremely important. And research is an area of weakness for us. And I think in the next few years we are really going to concentrate on research. We have started off with our weekly research meetings, so that we create a research culture. Because we are so much involved with the teaching process, we don't have that much time for research, but we are creating a research culture, and we have people who have done good research. I think by and large it's the absence of a culture and the absence of, and the paucity of time. So in the next few years, 2-3 years, we are really going to concentrate and focus ourselves on research, so that on an average, every faculty produces at least 2 quality research articles every year. When I say quality, it's in the top ranked journals. We have the journals called the ABDC type of journals, Australian Business Deans Council, which is one of the top rankers, the top journal which classifies various journals in the world. And to get into an ABDC type of journal is very, very prestigious. So our mandate to faculty is that every year a faculty must at least produce 2 quality research articles. I'm not talking just about research articles, also cases. It could be books, it could be book chapters. So the entire ethos of research will just get a facelift. And I think from this year onwards, we are giving it a real facelift, and so that we grow in research in terms of manifold, multiple percent, 100% per year, I think is the target growth in research for the next few years. So once teaching is good, once research is good, once you have good faculty, I think automatically it'll pay off into accreditations and this thing. So research is one. So once we get ourselves into research, we also want to get the what is known as the holy trinity of accreditations. There are 3 major accreditations in the world in business education. One is the AMBA UK, EQUIS, which is a European accreditation, and the third one is the AACSB, which is a US accreditation. And there are many institutes in the world who have got the Holy Trinity. In India, there are only 1 or 2. I think IIM Calcutta probably has got the Trinity of accreditation, not so many others. But we want to get the Trinity of accreditation in the next 5 years. We have set a target for ourselves that in the next 5 years we get both the EQUIS as well as the AACSB accreditation. And that will make us really globally competitive.
Got it, sir. Sir, when you first came to NMIMS, what was your vision for the institute and has it evolved over time? And how far along in implementing that vision are you at this point in time?
Okay, so when we said, and in fact, in our mission and vision statement, we said we should be one of the best executive education centers. We should have a niche for ourselves in the field of analytics. Analytics was just sort of was very young, nascent that time. So we said the whole field of analytics, data analytics, we should have a niche for ourselves. Then we said we should do applied research which is relevant to industry and society. And then we said in terms of people, we should have a people connect not only within the organization but also outside the organization with society, with NGOs, and etc. So we have been working on all these fronts. I think on the teaching learning process we are there. We have probably come to a level where we have what we envisaged for ourselves. But in research, as I said, we have a long way to go. In terms of the people connect, I think we are doing a lot. We have a program called the We Care program, where our students work with the NGOs for 3 weeks a year, and that has helped us go. I mean, it helps helping society. It also helps the students to sort of become more humble and realize what the real world is and what they can do when they grow up to contribute to society. So that I think we are going things like that. Internationalization is something which we have to. So research and internationalization are the two areas where we have covered a significant distance. And I think in the next 5 years, probably we will have a lot of progress in these two areas. So if you ask me whether we have achieved what we wanted to, I don't think we have achieved. I think the moment I say we have achieved, I think we will stagnate, we will plateau, we will not improve. So there's a lot to really learn and improve. And I think research and internationalization will be the two areas where our focus will be on in the next few years.
Got it, sir. Sir, what would you like people to know about your institute that they may not know at this point?
Okay. I think the quality was by and large no, but I think it's good since we're having an interview. I think it's good that I stress this, that they should know that we stand for quality. Number one. Number two, yes, I think people should know is that we are not only a B school. We are a multidisciplinary university. NMIMS today is a multidisciplinary university. We have 5 schools in our campus here in Bangalore. We have the School of Management, we have the School of Commerce, we have the School of Science, we have the School of Law, and we have the School of Economics. And we have some fantastic programs in each of these schools. And believe me, some of the undergraduate programs are, so well crafted, so well designed that we are among the top. So of course, these programs, we have our relation with our Mumbai University also. And it's very, very, very well designed. So if someone wants to specialize, there are very, very few quality programs, for instance, in economics. We have the Delhi School of Economics, we have the Madras School of Economics. Very few really other than these two you can talk as specialist schools for economics. Our economics program is absolutely at that level. Then we have the School of Science, which comes out of the program called the BSc Applied Statistics and Analytics. And I think it's the only one of its kind in India in terms of statistics and analytics. So that is one. And then we have, of course, the School of Commerce. Our BBA programs is ranked number 1 in the world in India. So it's really very well known. And then, of course, we have the School of Law, where we have a BA LLB and BB LLB. So I think through the medium of this interview and the opportunity that you have given me, I would like to tell the young students that NMIMS is there for the undergraduate programs. The undergraduate programs are as good as the B school, the management program. Because what happens is NMIMS is known for management because it started off 30 years ago. 35 years ago it started off, and that's why it's so very well known in the management sphere. But we became a deemed university in 2003, and since then we started all these undergraduate programs became part of the university. But probably we are less known there, and that's the one I'd like to tell the students. And the third thing, what probably is, you come here, you will not, because since we give so much emphasis on quality and accreditations, and we have an industry interface. I think those who want to join industry, I think there's so much to sort of gain by coming here, interacting with not only the faculty but also the industry people who come, practitioners who come here. So that will really stand them in good stead. And overall, the atmosphere is such that we give them a lot of opportunities to develop themselves. The various clubs we have, the various committees we have are opportunities for students to learn managing those activities by themselves. They may not have the authority in the campus, but they have the freedom to conceive, to create, freedom to lead, freedom to negotiate, a lot of things. And there's a lot of learning, a lot of non-classroom learning. What I would call as learning is not only in the classroom, but a lot of non-classroom learning. I think that is what I would like youngsters to know.
Yes, sir. Sir, what are some of the biggest challenges you see, both for higher education in general and for NMIMS Bangalore in particular?
Okay. Higher education is, I think, at its crossroads now. And I think what has really led to this is, I think, the advent of technology. Technology has been the biggest, I think, disruptor. And technology has been so great a disruptor. We have been talking about analytics, we have been talking about robotics, we have been talking about artificial intelligence, and all these three together are going to really change the way education is done. In fact, the biggest, the greatest example now is the post-COVID situation. We had COVID and the pandemic and the lockdown, but really none of that has really impacted the education industry. Why? Because we sort of embraced technology, and technology was available, which was enabled us to complete our classes on time. Although it might have been a little more difficult for the students, a little more difficult for the faculty. But today, I think it's becoming the way of life. It's becoming the new normal. So technology has, and you like it or not, universities also have to embrace technology. See, if you look at the education world has, in fact, as compared to industry, the developments in education have not been as rapid as in industry. The way education is being imparted, the teaching learning process has by and large been the same over the last 100 years. But now, post 2020, it is going to change. And even though we may come out of the COVID, even when the lockdowns will be lifted, I think we are not going to go back to the old form of learning. It is only going to be classroom. The future is going to be the hybrid learning. It is going to be a blend of the face-to-face learning in the classroom and online learning. And I think that is great for education and for society, because there are a lot of advantages of the online learning. Face-to-face has got its own advantages. So if you can marry the two and have the blend of two, that is going to be superb. Now, what does it mean for industry or for education is that, you see, the world over now, with online and with all these online courses having come to such great heights, the entire university system is being threatened. The entire university system is being, the way the universities are giving out degrees, the way you have to do run a program for 12 years or 16 years, I think that will change in the future. Because more and more, in fact, I was to a talk at a Harvard talk, and there's a very famous Indian professor called Vijay Govindarajan, who is in the US, and he was talking about the future education. He said, look, in America, 10% of the higher education will survive by 2050. By 2050, that is another about 30 years from now, only 10% of higher education universities will survive. Why? Because I think the demand is going to be skill-based. It's going to be more skill-based. You want to learn about artificial intelligence or robotics and all that. I think you can learn through a blend of online app-based courses as well as some training on the job. And the demand will be for such courses. So you'll have to collect a basket of credits. You'll have to have what is known as stackable credits, which you can get from anywhere. You can get anytime, anywhere. You do not necessarily have to go through a 18-year, 19-year, program. So if you want to have stackable credits, you can get, while you are working, you can get some credits also. So it will change the pace of universities. And while this schooling will be there, because that's the basic grounding, universities probably they will not be viable. Many of them will maybe die on the way. So this is the biggest challenge for universities. And then universities will have to see how do they attract students, and the fees that the students pay. They are paying 8 lakh for an MBA program or 9 lakh for an MBA program. How do they make themselves relevant by what is the value addition that they do? And what he says is, university if they want to survive, you will have to concentrate on, because skills can be bought. Skills you can get through, various the online mode. You will have to concentrate on communication skills, on critical thinking skills, on creative skills. I think all universities have to really concentrate on these aspects, and then only they will be able to survive in the marketplace and create value for the student and for themselves. So, universities, many of them might survive in the next 30 years. Only the really good ones who have the vision to keep track of what is happening in industry and make themselves relevant for industry and for the students will be able to survive. And if you look at new education policy in India, universities have to be multidisciplinary. So, and the government of India also has realized that you can't have this unidimensional single type of discipline in universities. So universities will have to have art, science, commerce, engineering. I think so you don't have to be necessarily an engineering, but as an engineer also you must know some arts. You must liberal arts will become. So only multidisciplinary universities will survive. And for multidisciplinary universities to survive, they must have the faculty of all hues and shades, people in different disciplines, and real quality. So real quality, and those who can withstand the pressures and challenges of multidisciplines only will survive in the future.
Yes, sir. Got it, sir. Sir, any suggestions you would like to give to the current youth or the aspiring students?
Yeah, number one is keep learning. Number one, people think that you come for education, you've got an MBA or you got whatever degree, and then you're made for the world. I think today it's become so very, very important to keep learning. And we always say at the end of the MBA program, you must learn how to learn. I think they must really learn how to learn and keep continuing to learn. I think that will only keep them in good stead, because otherwise they will become obsolete. I remember those days in 1980s when one of my seniors, he told me, Suresh, if today you do not know computers, you are not literate. They will, or not today, a few years from now, if you do not know computers, you're not literate. That time I didn't know computers, and then I said I bought a computer at home and I said I must at least be computer literate. Today, if you do not know how to work with mobiles, with all the facilities that mobiles have, you are not literate. Tomorrow, if you do not know how to deal with artificial intelligence and machine learning, I think you will not be literate. So the literacy, the bar is being raised each time, and more it is becoming high-end learning. In fact, that's one of the challenges India as a society is going to face, because everyone will have to go for high-end learning, because a lot of the jobs at the lower level are just getting taken off. So what to students is, you continue to learn, that will stand you in good stead. The second and the biggest advice I want to give graduates, especially the engineering graduates and the MBA graduates, is be job creators. Become entrepreneurial. Become entrepreneurs and create jobs rather than seek jobs. Because we are depending upon the government for jobs. We are depending upon industry for jobs. Industry can have so much jobs and no further. Because the industry also, the amount of automation that is happening, I think entire layers of jobs are just going. So we need more and more of young startups. I think startups will create more jobs per unit of capital invested than large industries. It's always a known fact that it's the small and medium industries who create more jobs on a per unit of capital invested. So the startups will create more jobs. So I will really, my advice to youngsters is that, and increasingly in all my talks these days, I've been saying that please become entrepreneurial. The MBA program especially has been more sort of job oriented, in which the people like to seek jobs. But I think in future, that jobs will not be there. So the MBA graduates will have to create jobs. And for that, they have to become entrepreneurs. So these are my two real big pieces of advice.
Yes, sir. Sir, that's it in terms of questions from my side, sir. Anything apart from this that you would like to convey through this interview, or anything that you want to speak out, sir?
I think I mean, if I can want to say about NMIMS, I think really, see, NMIMS has a, you know, I could like to talk a little bit about the philosophy of NMIMS. See, the
Yes, sir.
NMIMS started by freedom fighters, freedom fighters, and we had that freedom ethos. In fact, Kasturba Gandhi, we took over a school which was actually inaugurated by Kasturba Gandhi, and all the people who were involved in setting up the trust, the Sri Velaparle Kelavani Mandal Trust, were freedom
Yes.
fighters. That ethos has carried us through, and then the trust said we must have a single-minded focus on education. So we are today into probably all forms of education except medicine. Medicine is we are a multidisciplinary university, but apart even in medicine we have courses on physiotherapy and things like that. But so that has carried us through. So this ethos of NMIMS, starting from our freedom fighters, and this ethos of single-minded purpose of spreading education through across the country,
Yes, sir.
I think what people to know that, and we have not really gone abroad like many institutes have gone abroad, but there's so much scope within this country. This country with a low cost enrollment rate, etc. I think so much scope for good quality institutes, and that's why in the last 12 years we were a Mumbai centric organization. Now we are in Bangalore, we are in Hyderabad, we are in Indore, we are in Chandigarh. We'll probably go to other places. So we
Yes, sir.
we are a multi-geography, multidisciplinary university standing for quality. And I
Yes.
think that is what I want the outside world to know. And here is an institute which is steeped deep into the ethos of the Indian value system. We a lot of values and a lot of values which go along with this whole system of education and the way we have sort of expanded the business. A lot of it based on real value systems, and people who are members of the trust have really they do a philanthropic service. They do a voluntary service. The trust members, and but they have seen to
Yes,
it
sir.
that the institute has grown from a single location at Parle in Mumbai to at least five states in India, 5 6 states in India, and and they've got international recognition for that. I think people should know, especially in areas like the south of India and the east of India, where probably it's not so very well known. Yeah.
Yes, sir. Thanks a lot for interacting with us, sir. It's been a pleasure having you, and then it's the interview has been so much informative, and I'm sure that any student coming onto our platform would be enriched having heard of your talk. And thanks a lot for your time, sir.
Thank you, Anil. Pleasure interacting with you, and thanks for this opportunity to interact with you and Collegedunia. Yeah,
Thank you, sir. Thank you so much, sir.
thank you very much. Thank you.